the fuqaha, there are 40, they memorize 40 general rules very well. And people ask them thousands of questions. They grab this rule and they answer under this rule. They grab this rule and they answer under that rule. One of the 40 rules, لا طاعة لمخلوق في معصية الخالق. There's no obedience for a makhluk, for a human being, as you are disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So someone will say, no, you get your job, we can't allow you time. You say, thank you very much. Allahu ar-Razzaq. This is the rule. Someone came and asked me, shall I accept this job? I need this job, but they will never allow me. I say, you really negotiate with them. If they insist, you just say, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Even if it is the only job that will give you sustenance, because it is not the job that's giving you the sustenance. قل اللهم مالك الملك تؤتي الملك من تشاء وتنزع الملك ممن تشاء وتعز من تشاء وتذل من تشاء بيدك الخير. It is in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يرزق من يشاء بغير حساب. It is not in your hand. It is not in the hand of your boss. So here we look now at the kafirin. What happens to them? Let's read. Let's read. Listen to this. يوم يخرجون من الأجداث سراعا كأنهم إلى نصب يوفضون خاشعة أبصارهم ترهقهم ذلة ذلك اليوم الذي كانوا يوعدون. That on that day they feel the burden of their embarrassment as displayed by their vision. They can't even dare to look up. خاشعة أبصارهم ترهقهم. What's ترهقهم? They have a burden. They feel the weight of their ذلة, of their lawlessness. They used to be kings and people of high authority, but on that day there's no recognition of any royalty. لمن الملك اليوم? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will address everyone. لمن الملك اليوم? And the answer will come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لله الواحد القهار. There's no other sovereignty other than that of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So on that day, they will have the burden of everything that they carried on their shoulders. ترهقهم ذلة. ذلك اليوم الذي كانوا يوعدون. Such is the day that they used to be promised, but they denied it. Let's read. فتول عنهم يوم يدعو الداعي إلى شيء نكر خشعا أبصارهم يخرجون من الأجداث كأنهم جراد منتشر مهطعين إلى الداعي يقول الكافرون هذا يوم عسر. Remember, we are talking about the kafirin. يقول الكافرون هذا يوم عسر. They look like locusts as they are coming, and they don't know where to go, because on that day their intellectual abilities that led them to this conclusion and that conclusion and this and that will not benefit them. On that day there's no intellectual ability anymore. On that day everybody is equal. The one that you used to call dumb and stupid and this and that, and someone who used to say I am the intellectual who concluded that there's no God to be worshipped, everybody on that day is equal. And then مهطعين إلى الداعي, the da'i, the one who is going to يسوقهم, they just follow like animals. Like animals. They are just moving behind that. يقول الكافرون. This day is such a difficult one. I have marked the pages so that we will read those ayat. يوم تبدل الأرض غير الأرض in Surah Ibrahim. والسماوات وبرزوا لله الواحد القهار وترى المجرمين يومئذ مقرنين في الأصفاد سرابيلهم من قطران وتغشى وجوههم النار. This is not yet in the hellfire. It is now as they are being led to Ard al-Mahshar. They are now getting prepared. All of these things that we will read before they are placed in the hellfire. In the hellfire, there is a different abode awaiting them. But on that day, you will see the criminals who committed the crime of rejection of faith. They will be locked in their chains. Jazakallah khair. سرابيلهم من قطران. They will have a cloth made of tar, and fire will be coming out of their faces. Look at it now. Even if someone is so mad, she or he will feel as though fire is coming out of your face. You feel so hot. And this is a description that we have in dunya. What about in that day, on that occasion, when we say, وَتَغْشَى وُجُوهَهُمُ النَّارِ? These are descriptions for the non-believers. And look at this. The non-believers, people ask the question, what about the non-believers who really did good deeds? The non-believer. You see, there is a nucleus. If it is not there, there's no cell. Nothing can be recognized. If you have that nucleus, which is the faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, missing, nothing matters. If you disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing matters. Because, I'll give you an example. You are a student in a class. You are in grade 8 or in grade 11. You just don't really feel that you would like to study math, or you don't like it. But you really like to be the teacher's helper. Anything she wants to do, you just go and help her. And then they ask for volunteers to help during recess time to prepare for the carnival day at schools that they have in public schools, where the kids play Olympics and they do all sorts of things. And you like to volunteer, and you do, and you are so active. But you don't study for math, you don't study for science, you don't study English, you don't. And all of these, you get an F. But you were so good. You helped everybody. Will you pass? Murshid, will you pass? Of course not. Imad, you will not pass. Even though you were so good and everybody loved you. You are the star of the school. You are the star of the school. Everybody loves you. But in math, English, science, the same thing for the kafirin. They can be the greatest people. Everybody. If a group of people meet and say, where's Imad? Please call him. We can't have a good time without him. But Imad never prays, never does anything to connect with the most important thing. So all of that love will mean nothing. Did we bring the idea home? We did. Let's read what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about these people. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, as we read in Surah An-Nur. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَعْمَالُهُمْ كَسَرَابٍ بِقِيعَةٍ يَحْسَبُهُ الظَّمْآنُ مَاءً حَتَّى إِذَا جَاءَهُ لَمْ يَجِدْهُ شَيْئًا وَوَجَدَ اللَّهَ عِنْدَهُ فَوَقَّاهُ حِسَابَهُ وَاللَّهُ سَرِيعُ الْحِسَابِ. Beautiful description in Surah An-Nur, whereby Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and those who reject faith, their actions are like a mirage in a low place, that the thirsty person will really think that it is water, until he runs to it because he wants to drink, will find that it is nothing, and will find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala waiting for him and will give him his due. Allah is fast in his judgment. Again, as we read in Surah Al-Furqan, وَقَدِمْنَا إِلَى مَا عَمِلُوا مِنْ عَمَلٍ فَجَعَلْنَاهُ هَبَاءً مَنْثُورًا. We will bring everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will show them in their book of record. Look, this is your book of record. But because the most important thing was missing, فَجَعَلْنَاهُ هَبَاءً مَنْثُورًا. It will be like, that dust that rises as the farmer who separates in the, the way as they used to separate the grains from the covers. They raise it. It's haba, manthura. It's scattered all over the place. It means nothing. It means nothing. And then read this. Surah Al-Kahf. That's why, there are certain surahs that we should read the whole Quran. But Surah Al-Kahf every Jumu'ah. Why? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to teach us, read Surah Al-Kahf every Jumu'ah. Because there are jewels in Surah Al-Kahf. Listen to this. قل هل ننبئكم بالأخسرين أعمالا الذين ضل سعيهم في الحياة الدنيا وهم يحسبون أنهم يحسنون صنعا أولئك الذين كفروا. We are talking about the كافرين. أولئك الذين كفروا بآيات ربهم ولقائه فحبطت أعمالهم فلا نقيم لهم يوم القيامة وزنا ذلك جزاؤهم جهنم بما كفروا واتخذوا آياتي ورسلي هزوا. Let's try to translate. Say, Ya Muhammad, shall we tell you about the losers? Those whose actions had lost the target in this dunya, while thinking that they are doing the best. They are having the best of deeds. Such are those who rejected the signs of their Lord and meeting their Lord. Because of that, all their actions were lost. And on the day of judgment, we make no recognition of them. فَلَا نُقِيمُ لَهُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَزْنًا. They mean nothing. In this dunya, everybody will stand for them. Everybody will recognize them. Everybody will just cannot say a word unless they look at them and say, okay, go ahead and say it. But they have no time for, prayers, for good deeds. Such is their reward. جزاؤهم جهنم, the hellfire, because of their rejection of faith, and they partook my messengers while jokingly. Now, these are the non-believers. Now, listen to this. This makes everybody who listens to their wishes and desires. Try to teach your children that shaitan is real. Children, listen to these things. Children really, some people say, oh, we don't want to cause any complication for our children, telling them about something and No, you're not complicating their lives. Kids relate to entities. If you tell them it's bad to lie, it's good to tell the truth. But when you tell them that there is someone called shaitan that will come and always try to tell you to do bad things even though you don't hear him, but he's talking to you. He's telling you this, he's telling you that. I had this conversation with my own son this morning about shaitan, to reinforce that idea that there is shaitan, that there are two angels. And he started to look right and left. He started to relate to these things. And he said, I don't want the angels to run away from me. I don't want shaitan to come to me. I don't like shaitan. So he's talking about an entity. And it makes sense. And listen to this conversation. Listen to this conversation that we read again in Surah Ibrahim. وَقَالَ الشَّيْطَانُ لَمَّا قُضِيَ الْأَمْرِ. After everything is over, now nobody can hide anything from anyone. Two people will one deceive the other until they are both captured by the authorities, and both of them are guilty, and the one who really deceived the other will look at him and say, but I'm sorry, it's over. And this is the same thing. وَقَالَ الشَّيْطَانُ لَمَّا قُضِيَ الْأَمْرِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَعَدَكُمْ وَعْدَ الْحَقِّ وَوَعَدْتُكُمْ فَأَخْلَفْتُكُمْ وما كان لي عليكم من سلطان إلا أن دعوتكم فاستجبتم لي فلا تلوموني ولوموا أنفسكم ما أنا بمصرخكم وما أنتم بمصرخي إني كفرت بما أشركتموني من قبل. Shaitan is saying that. إني كفرت بما أشركتموني من قبل إن الظالمين لهم عذاب أليم. Shaitan, when it's all over, will say to the people who followed him, that the promise of Allah is the truth and my promise is nothing. I did not have any authority over you. All I did is that I called you and you answered me. Don't blame me. Blame yourselves. I can never save you, nor can you save me. I have rejected all those partners that you have taken before, and the transgressors will face a fearful doom. Now, again, there will be lots of fights between the kafirin. وَقَالَ قَرِينُهُ, as we read in Surah Qaf, هَذَا مَا لَدَيَّ عَتِيدٌ أَلْقِيَا فِي جَهَنَّمَ. The qareen, the shaitan, the qareen could be the shaitan. And he will say, هَذَا مَا لَدَيَّ عَتِيدٌ. He is as capable to face his destiny as anyone else. عتيد ألقيا في جهنم كل كفار عنيد مناع للخير معتد مريب الذي جعل مع الله إلها آخر فألقياه في العذاب الشديد. قال قرينه ربنا ما أطغيته ولكن كان في ضلال بعيد. قال لا تختصموا لدي وقد قدمت إليكم بالوعيد ما يبدل القول لدي وما أنا بظلام للعبيد. The qareen, the partner. You know, some people are in constant partnership with shaitan, so the shaitan is their qareen. Some are in constant partnership with an angel that will lead them, you know, that's the qareen. The qareen is what you have taken as an invisible friend, companion. This is your qareen. And then on the day of judgment, everything is clear, so the shaitan will start to fight. Yo, you told me to do it. No, I didn't tell you. No, yes, you did. Remember that day. No, leave me alone. No, I leave me. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, لا تختصم. Don't fight in my presence. I have given you enough and ample warning. Don't fight. You have no reason to fight. Now this is the kafirin. What about those usat, those Muslims who did not follow the proper injunctions that were sent to them through messengers, through Quran, through this beautiful print that nowadays you can open, you can sit under nice lighting and you can read it. When there was a time when Ahmad ibn Hanbal, when Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, when Malik ibn Nabi, when all of those people had to really, when it's night time, to bring, you know, a kind of light that they could barely see under. And by the way, today, you know, I have problems in my eyes. I went to the eye doctor. He said, this is the prescription. Take it so that you can read better. When before, they couldn't really. By the way, did you think that they don't have eye problems in the past? But they never had these things. But what they did, they will stop seeing properly. But they wanted to read Quran. But the Quran was here in their hearts. And when they wanted to memorize, you know, I remember, you know, my father I never saw my grandfather because he died when I was 15 days old. And my father used to tell me that when he wanted to see something better, he will just do this. You know, why? Trying to make the focus a little bit closer. But today, we have beautiful things. We have the ability to sit behind a desk on comfortable chairs. But there are people who never open this Quran. They never open it. And on the day of judgment, it will come as a witness against us. And the Quran will say, Jazakallah. The Quran will say, I was there all the time. But you listened to shaitan. And, you know, the believers will have, you know, we talked about the 7. These 7 are protected, but then those who are not in this protection, each category or whatever you really accumulated, you will be gathering the punishment even before may go to the hellfire, or maybe in this 50,000 years as you are waiting, you will have your sins and mistakes already paid for by purifying you in this time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. But what are the kind of things that we will deserve punishment for? Number one, those who do not pay their zakat. الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤَدُّونَ الزَّكَاةِ. This is, we are talking about believers who pray, who, but occasionally, and but there are certain things, remember, while you are waiting, salat you're not talked about, because this will be in Yawm al-Hisab. When you stand before, that's the first question, salat. But before then, there are certain things that you will be dealt with, partially or completely, depending on how much you accumulated. And among the things that it will start to be felt even before you stand, Allah will ask you when you stand before Him about zakat. But even before then, we talked about silat al-rahm, remember? That you will start to receive punishment in this dunya before the akhirah. We talked about certain things that you will be punished for in the qabr, in the grave. There are different stages. While waiting in ard al-mahshar, standing, you're not leaning against something. You're tired. No, the other person is next to you. You can't really lean against anything. So, people who did not pay zakat. Remember, we're not talking about the kafirin. Those who knew that zakat has to be paid. And ولا يحسبن الذين يبخلون بما آتاهم الله من فضله هو خيرا لهم بل هو شر لهم سيطوقون ما بخلوا به يوم القيامة. As we read in Surah Al Imran, let not those who really withhold the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what He has given them out of His favors, that it is good for them, that they are going to build and buy and this and enjoy. It is a source of it is a source of bad omen for them, because they will be surrounded with all that they have accumulated, and it will turn into punishment for them. And as it is reported by Muslim in his Sahih through the authority of Abu Hurairah, he said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, ما من صاحب ذهب ولا فضة لا يؤدي فيها حقها إلا إذا كان يوم القيامة صفحت له صفائح من نار فأحمي عليها في نار جهنم فيكوى بها جنبه وجبينه وظهره كلما بردت أعيدت عليه في يوم كان مقداره 50,000 سنة. Notice it is during that waiting period. حتى يقضى بين العباد فيرى سبيله إما إلى الجنة وإما إلى النار. You're still waiting. But while waiting, imagine the sun, and we said it's not necessarily the sun that we are familiar with. Imagine it's already difficult, and still, because you did not pay zakat, these things will make things much harder for you. And that these things will really be the punishment. Among the others, some I will mention the ayat, some I will just mention the category. Those who are arrogant, al-mutakabbirun. Now, there are certain sins and mistakes that people will accumulate, and they were referred to in the Quran in a category that Allah will not talk to the people who really committed those sins, and will not purify them in this dunya nor in the hereafter. ذنوب لا يكلم الله أصحابها ولا يزكيهم. Let's listen. إن الذين يكتمون ما أنزل الله من الكتاب ويشترون به ثمنا قليلا أولئك ما يأكلون في بطونهم إلا النار ولا يكلمهم الله يوم القيامة ولا يزكيهم ولهم عذاب أليم أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى والعذاب بالمغفرة فما أصبرهم على النار. That those who know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, but they said, oh, I don't want to be a sore spot. I don't want others now to say, oh, every time we see him, he just likes to be that sore spot and always tell us, okay, come and pray and this and... No, if you are in a gathering and you know that people do not pray and it is time for prayer, it is your duty to remind them in a nice way, in a way that is the best of advice, instead of saying, well, I don't want to be looked at as someone who is really, يعني ما حدا بطيء إنه يشوفني, and nobody likes to see me, and this. No. إن الذين يكتمون ما أنزل الله من الكتاب ويشترون به ثمنا قليلا. They say, well, this is for me. علي بنفسي. No, this is ثمن قليلا. You are really not giving it its due value. You have to share it with others. بلغوا عني ولو آية. If you know one thing related to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, make sure that you really relate that to those who really need to benefit from. If you are among those who conceal what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the book, you are among those that ما يأكلون في بطونهم إلا النار. Again, it depends on how serious it is that you are concealing. Not every time that, oh, I didn't tell anybody about prayer that I'm going to eat fire in my, no, it varies. وَلَا يُكَلِّمُهُمُ اللَّهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ, because he's angry with them. وَلَا يُزَكِّيهِمْ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ, and they will face very hard torment from Allah. أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ اشْتَرَوُا الضَّلَالَةَ بِالْهُدَى, that they gave away, the guidance for the sake of ضَلَالَة, which is to lose guidance. And then look at this. There is a hadith that was reported by Muslim and Ahl al-Sunan. Who are Ahl al-Sunan? Who are Ahl al-Sunan? Ibn Majah, Abu Dawood. Let me, Ibn Kathir. Okay. There are 4 of them. At-Tirmidhi, An-Nasa'i, Abu Dawood, and Ibn Majah. These are Ashab as-Sunan, because their compilations of the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they are referred to as Sunan Ibn Majah, Sunan Abu Dawood, Sunan